Hello, hello. My name is Ashley Kirkwood with the Speak Your Way to Cash podcast. I run a fabulous company called Speak Your Way to Cash, where we help speakers, experts, authors, entrepreneurs, and those with an expertise package it up, get their message to millions by leveraging speaking, both as a marketing tool as well as a way to get paid. Okay. And I am here today to have a conversation we have never had before on the podcast. Can y'all believe this? We have never had this conversation before on the podcast. And what we're talking about is bias in the sales process. So, specifically, is bias impacting your sales? And why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about is bias impacting your sales? Why is this something that you should be concerned about, that you should consider? I'll tell you why. We announced yesterday, I think it was yesterday, you guys, that we are doing something that we've never done before. We are doing a Black Women's Sales Summit. It's called Sell Your Way to Cash, the Black Women's Sales Playground. And one of the reasons why we're doing this is because I have for years had behind closed door conversations with my clients who are predominantly Black women about things that they've encountered when selling to large organizations, when selling their coaching programs in mass, when running ads. I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about my ad stories in a minute, but things that they've encountered along their path selling that directly relate or that I don't believe would have happened were they not Black women, right? That I don't believe would have happened were they not women, were they not people of color, were they not racially diverse. And so for a lot of people, a lot of us who are entrepreneurs, who are dealing with what we deal with on a day to day, who are growing our businesses, we don't take a lot of time to stop and think about why things are happening or what's happening, but we know there are forces outside of our control impacting this journey. That said, we are not powerless, but it does not hurt to acknowledge the fact that our path may be a little bit different. And what are some strategies that we can utilize to still make our revenue goals, impact the lives we're supposed to impact, and do what we're supposed to do in the marketplace? So if you are watching this live and you have ever felt like bias, racism, gender discrimination, any of those isms has impacted your journey, drop a one in the chat. Drop a one in the chat. So that's why we're talking about it. We're talking about it because it's on the hearts and minds of many. And I want to give you guys some specific strategies that we've utilized to overcome bias in the sales process. Some strategies that any business owner, any entrepreneur, any speaker listening to this right now can utilize to ensure that they are setting themselves up for success. But I also want to say, like, I see you, I feel you, I hear you, I get the emails. That's like, no matter what I do, it doesn't seem to be working out. But we got some strategies for that because I don't believe that we should be, feeling like we're powerless or we can't overcome because of how we were born into this earth. That doesn't make any sense and it really doesn't serve us. But I do think it makes sense to acknowledge that it's a real thing and figure out how we're going to overcome it and what we've strategically done to place ourselves in a better position. Now, let me tell y'all something. Y'all know that I have sold to both colleges, corporations, and consumers for the past several years. Prior to starting my business, I worked as a trial lawyer at a large law firm. I was the only Black woman in the litigation group. I know what it feels like to be the only. And what I had to do I remember being in a meeting and I had an idea. Okay, so I share my idea in this meeting and everyone's like, oh, okay, great. They go to someone else. They said that this other person says almost the exact same thing as me. And all of a sudden, the idea was glorious. It was like it was a fantastic idea, right? And this happens so often in corporate America, where depending on who the idea comes from, depending on who the person is that is sharing the idea, that determines whether or not the idea will get credibility, credence, and weight, right? So we're used to that. That we know that happens. But what about when you become an entrepreneur and you're out here and you are sharing your message and you start to feel like people aren't listening to me because I don't have, I don't look the way they want me to look, or I don't sound the way they want me to sound, or I'm not doing the things they want me to do. How do you overcome that? Well, let me tell you this. For every single person who has felt like in their corporate space, their voice wasn't valued, there is something I want you to do as an entrepreneur. You need to understand that one, this ain't that. When you run your company, you have the power to run your company, and you have to push through whatever feelings of insignificance were placed upon you in that corporate space so that you are showing up confidently, clearly, and as the solution to your clients' problems. If you don't do that, y'all, you will mess up the revenue potential for your company because you can't bring that energy if I'm not good enough, they're not listening to me, into what you're doing now. Like, it just does not serve you. Yes, it may have been wrong. No, they shouldn't have said it. No, they should not have done it. But what you have to focus on in order to grow your business is the power that you now have and the solutions that you now provide. So let's get specific. I want to give you 6 strategies that will help you to overcome whatever bias you're dealing with in the marketplace. These are things that absolutely everyone can do. These are things that I know are going to bless you. So if you're taking notes, go get your pen and pad. We're going to go through some things today that I think will be really, really, really beneficial for entrepreneurs, speakers, business owners, those folks who are selling services to others, right? Number 1, I want you to establish your authority. I want you to establish your authority. If someone could drop that in the chat for me, that'd be great. If you're listening to this on the podcast, shout out to you. Write it down when you get home if you're listening to it in the car. But number 1 is establish your authority. Establish your authority. What does that mean? You want to be known for one or a few topics that you are really great at. And what I want you to do is I want you to ask 3 people, what is it that I do? Like, literally post on social media, make a post that says, what do I do? Or how would you describe what I do? And then I want you to see whether your audience is able to regurgitate what you do. Why? Because once you've established your authority, once other people can regurgitate what you do, they can then refer you business. There are a lot of people who I love. I think they're amazing. I think they're great. All the things. I cannot tell you what they do. I don't even know what they do, which means I don't know what bucket to put them in so I can refer them business. Now, for those of you out here who are like, but Ashley, I do so many things. Okay, that's good. I don't know if it's good or not, to be honest, but that's fine. But you need to establish your authority in a few areas so that people can repeat what you do. The test is, if you were to post on social media, how would you describe what I do? And you get answers that are wildly different and diverse, then you have not yet established your authority in front of your audience. You want them to be able to say what you do so that they can refer you business appropriately, okay? One of the reasons our company is called Speak Your Way to Cash Live or Speak Your Way to Cash is because it basically says what we do in the name, and it's easy to remember. If it's easy to remember, it's easier to repeat. One of the reasons why we have Speak Your Way to Cash Live, our live event, Speak Your Way to Cash podcast, and the Speak Your Way to Cash book is because we are constantly saturating the market with not only our company name, but with what we do. And we got the registered trademark for it. So if you see somebody using it, get at me. But literally, you want to be known for what you do. You want to establish your authority. And then, like, people be like, oh, you help speakers get paid to speak. Close enough. We'll take it. We teach sales. We teach so much more than that. But that's close enough where if you refer me someone to help them get paid to speak, we will be able to serve that client. That client is in our target market. So number 1 is establish your authority. Number 2, the number 2 thing I want you to do if you're taking notes is get third-party validation. Get third-party validation. What do I mean by this? Let me distinguish this. This does not mean I want you to chase clout. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there should be a third-party entity that has its own brand authority that people can look to validate that you do what you say you do. So one of the things that we do here is I write for Entrepreneur. If you were to Google Ashley Kirkwood, Entrepreneur Magazine, articles on sales will come up, articles on getting paid to speak will come up, those things will come up. So if you can get some press to validate what you do, you can get quoted in the press. We have a whole book, Speak Your Way to Cash. This is our book. It literally has the second part of the book is all about how to get press for yourself without a publicist. If you want to learn more about that, go to the book. It tells you what scripts to send, what to say, all the things, right? But like you want people to be able to Google you and they see evidence that you are who you say you are. Brownie points if when they Google you, press features come up, podcast features come up. You know what I'm saying? So you want like some third-party sources to bolster the brand authority that you've established. So part one, establish your authority. Part two, get third-party validation. At Speak Your Way to Cash Live, we have a whole session called Dominate, where we're going to teach you what you need to do to dominate the market and some strategies that you can utilize to do that. Number three, you want to showcase your results. Showcase your results. So if you're a speaker, we want to see footage of your clients saying you're great at speaking. If you are a coach, we want to see footage of your clients talking about how they received the result that you promised in your marketing message. So if your marketing message is, I help people gain confidence, I want to see videos on people saying you've helped them gain confidence. For us, we do help people land speaking contracts and sell to large organizations. You will see, like, on the first post pinned on my Instagram is a collage of clients listing off the revenue they've generated from implementing our strategies. Why? Because we want to showcase the results of our clients. It's one thing to get yourself results, but people will believe you more if you have proof that you've gotten other people results. So you want to showcase your client results in whatever it is that you do. All right. So showcase client results. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. I want you to lead with value. Lead with value. One of my girlfriends, shout out to Mon Ray, Marketing by Mon Ray. Y'all should follow her if you aren't already. One of my girlfriends, Mon Ray, sent me a video of an interview, and it was a social proof interview. I don't even know which interview episode it was, but basically it was an interview episode where the guy being interviewed was talking about how he developed relationships with influencers and celebrities and got opportunities to speak on stages of thousands of people. And literally what he did was he led with value. He wanted a relationship with someone. And instead of just being like, hey, I want to be friends with you, DM me, or let's cook up, or can we do coffee, or can I pick your brain, all the things that people do that don't work. Instead of doing any of that, I don't like any of that. Don't send me any of those messages, y'all. I will not. I don't do that. So instead of doing that, which is kind of whack and played out, he did not do that. He was like, yo, I want to learn more about what you do, and I'd like to refer you some clients. Where should I refer people? Now that's a message that's going to get a response. How can I help you generate revenue in your business? How can I refer people to you? I do this, you do that. We're aligned. We're not competitors. How can I refer people to you? And he ended up referring this guy business, didn't ask for anything in return. Come to find out, he had referred this man so much business that the guy reaches back out to him and says, yo, bro, you've been referring me so much business. Let's talk. Like, now I got to know more about what you do. Come to find out, they end up going into business together. And the deals that they have done have been deals that have been in excess of 7 figures together. All because he led with value. A lot of people are out here in the marketplace leading with desperation instead of leading with value. So leading with desperation, buy my thing, click my thing. Okay, that's cool. But what about what you can put out into the marketplace in order to get people results? Like this is a masterclass in how to get a relationship with someone of influence. 1, lead with value. What do they need that you can provide? Hey, I'd like to refer you business. And then actually refer them business. They're going to always remember you as that person. They're going to remember you as someone of value. But then what if you don't like, you're like, okay, well, I can't refer anyone business. Actually, I don't know people who buy stuff, whatever the case may be. Fine. What else can you do that they may need? Can you share their content? Can you recap or can you do an unboxing of a product that they have out? Can you do a really cool review of a movie that they were just in and share? Like, literally, how can you strategically add value to the life of someone else first so that they want to do business with you in the future? It's a cheat code for your clients. How do you do this with clients so that you attract business? We have over 180 podcast episodes. I don't charge y'all a dime for listening to my podcast. And we put out high quality content on the podcast. That's me leading with value. Many of the people that listen to the podcast end up getting on our email list, coming to our summits, doing our things. What does this have to do with overcoming bias in the sales process? Most of the time, y'all, let me tie it back. Let me bring it on back. Let me tie it back. Most of the time, people who hold strong biases have limited to no interaction with the person that they are biased against. Most of the time, when people have biases, they are based on erroneous, superficial belief systems. And one of the things that is beautiful about a baseless belief system is that it doesn't really take much to break it down if that person is open minded. And if they're not open minded, I don't want to work with them anyways. But one of the ways you combat bias is by showing proof, literal evidence to the contrary of the bias that is being held. Does it work for all biases? No. Does it work for some? Yep. How do I know? I was in a career, y'all, where I was always the only, always like one of the first. I used to get awards for like, oh, come speak, because not because I had won a case or did anything, but because I happened to be Black and worked at places. Like, it was like, you're the only Black girl that works there. Oh, can you come speak to my class? Because it was so rare. Like, my former industry, working in big law, it's like less than 3% Black folks that have like that work there. You know what I mean? I don't even know what the updated stats are. That those stats may be old. Maybe we're up to 5%. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it just was so rare. So what I'm telling you is, when I work with people who had literally never worked with a Black associate before, a Black associate attorney, some of the biases that they held were like, oh, she doesn't work hard, or oh, she's not very learned, or oh, she's not very good. And when I showed them proof, not that I should have had to, right? So save your emails like, Ashley, you should not have to do that. It is so wrong. It is wrong, but I have revenue goals that are more important to me than whether or not somebody is racist. Like, that's just not, I deal with that all the time. So it is what it is. I should not have had to do this, but because I did, this is what I did. I would show them proof to the contrary of their erroneous beliefs, and those belief systems would go down. Why? Because we got results for people. We led with value. Should I have had to work harder because I'm Black? No. Did I feel like I had to in some instances? Yes. Why did I do it? Because at the end of the day, it benefited me and those who came after me more than me buying into the belief that I could not perform. But do you, boo? Do whatever you want to do. I'm just telling you like what we've had to do. So you lead with value. Another thing, be responsive. Now, this is just a general business tip. I don't really care who you are. There's data that suggests, when it comes to selling to organizations, when it comes to selling to small businesses, companies, people, go with the person who responds first. Can I tell y'all right now, we are planning an event. The budget is over $100,000, and we are hiring vendors. And literally, the vendors that we go with, 9 times out of 10 is the vendor that responds first. Why? Because there's so many moving parts, and I just want someone who's responsive. And if you are not responsive during the sales process, it is highly likely that you will not be responsive during the delivery of the service that I'm paying you for. So I look for responsiveness, but it's not just me. Skip me. I'm a smaller business, right? As of right now. Who knows what the Lord will do? But as of right now, I'm a smaller business. So skip what I do. What the data shows is that corporate clients at large hire the person who responds first. So yes, there may be some other things going on in the world or other biases and all that, but like, be responsive. Be responsive. Make yourself stand out by being responsive. Hopefully y'all can still hear me on Instagram because I had a call come through. If you can hear me on Instagram, drop a yes in the chat. Okay. So then you want to ignore ignorance. Ignore ignorance. Y'all, I've run ads now. Okay. So I run ads. I get trolled on my ads sometimes, you guys, like literally trolled. So I run ads, and people have made comments about my appearance, about me being Black. And now we're running ads to the Black Women Sales Summit. People are reporting the ads like, oh, this is so bad. She's talking about Black people. This is horrible. Why does she want to work with Black people? Like, whatever, right? I've had all kind of things. We got people responding. I'm not even going to go into all the details. Anyways, you have to ignore ignorance. Block, move on. Do not stew on what you don't have. Stew on what you do. And here's a really cool thing that I thought about that really has helped me move forward in my business and move forward in my life. For every single attribute that people have considered to be a negative, it has actually been a positive because I've made it a positive. So when I worked in a large law firm environment and I was the only Black woman, Instead of being like, I'm the only Black woman, it's going to be so bad, it's going to be so hard, it's going to be awful, oh my God, woe is me. I remember being like, I'm the only Black. I remember during the interview process being like, yeah, it doesn't look like you'll have a lot of diversity. I get it. I'm going to need 300K to come over here. Like, I literally used it as a bargaining chip, because while some people will say, okay, I'm the only one, that means they don't value me. When something is rare, it should be more valuable, right? Like diamonds. The reason why it's valuable is because everyone doesn't have it. The reason why people love the new Bentley, whatever, is because everyone doesn't have it. You don't see it every day. The reason why when you see a really old classic car drive down the street, shout out to my brother Calvin, who owns a brand called Muscle Car Gang. Check him out. But he has a really dope car. The reason why like people are oohing and awing at these cars is because they're rare. It's because they're rare. So whatever it is in your life that people consider to be a negative, make it a positive and lean into it. Here's a pro tip, y'all. I want you to literally write out every single thing you were teased for as a child, every single thing people said is a negative for you, every single thing people said wasn't going to work in your favor. And I want you to flip it and write out the positive that's going to do. Lean into it. That could very well be your competitive advantage. It could very well be your competitive advantage. Like, I'm a speaking coach. I'm a business coach. I'm a business strategist, but I used to be a lawyer. I left my job. Now, some people be like, oh, well, you left. You didn't make partner. That's not a good thing. For me, it's like I worked there, got 300K. I use it as a part of my brand messaging. I left a $300,000 job. Some people will be like, you left a $300,000 job. That's bad. I'm like, no, I left a $300,000 job. That shows the faith I had in my own business to make millions with an S. You know what I'm saying? So like literally lean into everything that people say is bad. Oh, you got married at 22. You didn't get to live a life. No, I got married at 22, which means by the time we're 50, we'll be married like 25 years. We've already been married 10 years because we got married so young. Like every single thing that people have said, oh, you talk too much. I have a company about speaking. Every single thing they said was a negative. Make it into a positive. Oh, you're stuck up. I have a TEDx talk called The Currency of Confidence. I'm not stuck up. I'm sure. I'm sure. Like, I'm sure about what I have going on. Every single thing that people tell you is a negative, I want you to find the positive in it. Lean into it. Brand it. Why is it critical that you do this? Let me tell y'all why it's critical. I'm going to try not to get worked up because this is going to be a short live. I got to go. It is critical that you do this because it is a lot of, can I tell y'all a secret? Drop secret in the chat if I can tell y'all a secret. A lot of people that are hypercritical of others are hypercritical of the very thing in others that they wish they had themselves. A lot of people that are hypercritical of other people, they're only hypercritical of the aspects in others that they wish they'd honed themselves. And so the beauty of having haters, right? I don't talk about haters a lot. I'm gonna go there today, but I don't even like giving them play on my podcast. but I'll tell y'all this secret because y'all drop secret in the chat. Shout out to y'all. Here's the secret. If people are constantly criticizing you about something, talking down about something, trying to make you feel bad for something, trying to like point out something, oh, you always doing something. They probably aren't doing enough. Oh, you always talking. They probably don't leverage their voice. Oh, you're arrogant. They probably lack self-confidence. Like, why is that? Because there's something about envy that makes you pick and probe at something in others that you desire for yourself. So lean into it. Now, when you have the proper view of yourself, of your abilities, of your skill sets, there's something beautiful you can do with the hatred and the jabs that others take at you. Those jabs, those critiques, those now, if it's a positive critique, if it's a critique to make you better, then take it and improve, right? Some people, everybody ain't hating. But if it's something that is said to bring you down with negative intent and with no desire to simultaneously lift you up, then this is what you need to do with it. You need to analyze what they are saying to you and look for your power in it. Look for your power in it. Those of you that were criticized for speaking may be speakers. Those of you that were criticized for always doing something and being a busybody may be entrepreneurial. Those of you who were criticized for speaking up and causing problems may be advocates. You may be an excellent lawyer or negotiator. Like, don't let it bring you down. Let it bring you up. Let it bring you up. Let it teach you something about where you should be going. People think they can only hear from God from like someone they like or their pastor or their minister. You can pick up on divine signs from people that meant to do you wrong. Are y'all going with me on this? You can literally pick up on divine clues from people who meant to do you wrong. Wait, what did she say? Oh, she says I'm trying to compete with her. Well, what does she do? Oh, well, I mean, I'm not trying to compete with her. Oh, is she telling me that she thinks I'm excellent at teaching something that I should probably lean into more? Like literally, what is it trying to show you about your brilliance? What is it telling you about your expertise? If my dad always says this, like, praise God for my dad. Him and my mom are somewhere chilling right now, living their best lives. Okay. Like when me and Chris hit that age, like I'm so ready to live the life my parents are living. Okay. They are living it up. But they like island hopping, doing anything. But one of the things he always says is like, if we would just stop being emotional long enough to see the blessings that are around us, we would be better off as a people, as a culture. And what I find is that there's a couple of things that block us from seeing our greatness. One is offense. If you're offended by everything, and this is something that I like, let me tell y'all something. Your girl does get offended. Okay. But this is something that I am constantly working on. Is like, how do I not get offended? And most of the time I get offended by stuff that's like, I shouldn't even saw that email because I ain't even supposed to be reading my emails. I'm not even supposed to be reading my DMs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a team for that. Like, if I would just let people do their jobs, I wouldn't have even seen it to be offended because my team is excellent at responding to nonsense in my emails and in my DMs. So I wouldn't have even seen it. You know what I'm saying? So like, okay, so a couple things that can get us off our square, right? One is offense, picking up offense at every turn. I think Stan Pearson, I wish I could quote it right. I'm gonna do my bro an injustice by trying to quote what he said. But he made a comment about offense, and the gist of it was like picking up offense is a choice. And when you pick it up, you actually are picking that up and like you're putting down your power, right? So you can choose to be offended. You can choose not to be offended. Like I think there's a level of surety that you can have in yourself where you're not even offended by things because you realize that when people act out, it's telling you more about where they're at in their life than where you're at in your life. Because the truth is, people can't tell me where I'm at in my life because they don't know where I'm at in my life. Only I know where I'm at in my life. They don't even have the insight, the wisdom, or the ability to tell me like where I'm at in my life, right? So one is offense. The second thing is like being hyper emotional all the time about everything, like just hyper emotional. Like, oh, I don't feel like doing it. I feel like doing it. My feelings drive me in every which way. Like that can get us off our square. The reason I bring these things up, y'all, is because I have seen that right now there's more competition in the marketplace. Why do I think that? Because during the pandemic, there were so many people that went into entrepreneurship. Let me see if I can find the exact quote. I had it somewhere, but I don't know the exact numbers. But literally there were so many people that became entrepreneurs. I believe it rose like 25% or so. Okay. It rose like 25%, if not more. Entrepreneurship. So what does that mean? There are more people in the marketplace. What does that mean for you and your business? That means that you have to do these things that we talked about. I'm going to recap them. Establish your brand authority, get third-party validation, showcase your clients' results, lead with value, be super responsive, and ignore ignorance. You literally have to do those things in order to not just thrive right now, but to survive right now because there's more people in the marketplace. Well, what happens when there's more people in the marketplace? It's very, very noisy. And I want you to imagine that you are in an extremely noisy room, but there's someone trying to give you directions at the other side. When people are very noisy and they're not committed to the noise, they're just noisy, saying stuff all the time, blah, 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 blah. Here's what you do. You are always looking for the constant, consistent voice in the crowd. Right now, the marketplace may feel noisy, but even with all the noise, there's not a lot of constant, consistent voices in the crowd. If you can be the constant, consistent voice for your clients, then you will get business. I don't care how you look. I don't care what you do. I don't care who you are. If you are a consistent, clear voice in the crowd of noise, you will continue to thrive and continue to get clients. That's the good news. Here's the better news. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to figure it out for yourself. We have resources for you here. All the way from like a $24 book. If you don't have the Speak Your Way to Cash book and you want to grow your business and you want to land large clients and clarify your sales message, I don't know what to tell you, because literally I read the Audible book in my own voice. I'll literally read the whole book to you. Go on Amazon, get the Audible book, or just buy the book. Like, go to speakyourwaytocash.com/buy book. You need to get that book. But let's say you're someone who's like, look, I already got the book. You need to be at Speak Your Way to Cash Live. Like, it is our event in November. We do it once a year. We already got over 200 speakers that have registered and committed to changing their lives through the event. You need to be one of them. Do not miss this event. I'm telling you now. We worked on the curriculum and everything today. It's bananas, literally bananas. Do not miss the event. But lastly, we're doing something before the event, because I know that the vast majority of you watching this right now fall into the category and identify as Black women. Everyone can come, but the content, the curriculum, the speakers, all of it is designed to uplift, empower, and help give Black women entrepreneurs clarity in their sales process and help them sell more services. For the first time ever, we are doing a Black Woman Sales Summit. And I have corralled and convinced 10 of some of my favorite sister entrepreneurs to come out and share with you guys how they've built their brands. I want you to run, not walk, to speakyourwaytocashsummit.com and get your ticket to the Black Women Sales Summit. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why you absolutely have to be there, y'all. And y'all need to share this. If this video was good, share it with a friend. Sharing is caring. But you want to go to the blackwomansalessummit.com. You can register at no cost at speakyourwaytocashsummit.com. And I want to show you guys like some of these speakers. Like, let me introduce you to some of the sales moguls that you'll be hearing from. If you want to have Fortune 500 clients such as Microsoft, Google, Moët Hennessy, Netflix, and LinkedIn, you need to hit up Raina Sargent. Like, she's going to be someone that we interview. She's a Speak Your Way to Cash client, came through, did our academy. She was at our event last year. She's going to tell you some of her sales secrets, some of the things that she's had to do to sell to these mega companies as an entrepreneur. But what if you want to sell hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of products, land yourself in Forbes due to your historic book launch, and market yourself like a pro? Like, what if you want to do any of those things? Then you need to make sure you're in the session with my girl, Audria Richmond, one of my best friends, literally someone who I adore, who's off the chain. I have I got so much uncloned stuff just around here. I can't grab it right now, but I do. I have one of her systems. She created marketing systems that produced them in China, y'all, developed them from her brain. It's I don't know, it's probably over 700 pages of just marketing magic, marketing insight, marketing wisdom to help you with that. But she's going to talk about how she not only produced it, but sold it, and then did a historic book launch that landed her in the pages of Forbes, did a virtual summit with, I think, 1,000 people on live, all the things. So she's going to come and drop fire on that. Then Mathina, literally do 100,000 people know your name. Do 100,000 people know your name? Because if not, you might need to level up your story. And Mathina is going to come in and show you how she's literally trained over 100,000 individuals. Speak Your Way to Cash client, came through, did our academy, blew it out the waters. We'll be at the event this year. We'll be joining some of our other programs, just a total rock star and storytelling genius. But then one of my personal faves, Victoria Lowe Burgess. If you have not heard of her, she built a multi-million-dollar business, sold it for bank, y'all. We're talking millions of dollars. Gonna talk through about how to close multi-million-dollar deals. Like what? Who does events like this with this caliber of speakers and like doesn't even charge you for it? It's bananas. You have to be in the building or else you're going to regret it. But are you leveraging referrals to grow your business? Like, are you selling via referrals? Do you have a referral network in place? Because if not, my girl Catrice is going to come through, who is literally inside counsel for Amazon. Ever heard of them? Anyone heard of Amazon? Okay, because she's going to come through and drop fire on how she's leveraging referrals, how she's utilizing LinkedIn to build her business from the ground up, and what you need to do even if you're just getting started. And then what about like selling high ticket offers? Do you need a pricing makeover? Do you need a pricing makeover? Like literally, what do you need? Like, because Nicole's going to come through and talk about how you need to sell high ticket offers, what that looks like, how to get started with that if you're new to it. But then what about this? Do you think the government is only good for taxes? Wrong. How about selling to the government? Who wants to know how to sell to the government? We pay them every year in taxes. Why don't we make them our client? Okay, my girl Sasha's going to come through and talk about how she did that and how she landed a 20K contract using, or a 5-figure contract using the sales strategies that we are going to unveil in her session and that she learned through the Speaker Ready Cash suite of services off the chain. Jessica's going to come through and talk about how her first speaking contract was over a $60,000 contract and what sales strategies she used in that sales process. Yeah, Jessica also came to Speaker Ready Cash Live. So there's a trend here, y'all. The winners come to Speaker Ready Cash Live. Winners invest with Speaker Ready Cash. Like that's like the trend. But then we're going to talk to our girl Tony, who's going to come through and talk about how she's closed deals and raised her prices after going through the Speaker Ready Cash suite of services, how she's utilized that to sell. She has over 20 years of PR experience. Come on. Like, what is that? She's going to talk about how she landed a 6-figure client, one client, 6 figures. One of the things we talk about at Speaker Ready Cash is like 5 and 6-figure contracts. Like inevitably, if you land a 6-figure contract, you're gonna have a 6-figure year. So we aren't talking about like how do you make 6 figures in one whole year. We're talking about 6-figure clients. What does that look like? What do 5-figure clients look like? So that you can build your business in a sustainable way and you can replace 100 clients with 1 or 100 clients with 5 and buy some of your time back. Oh, and last but not least, my girl Marketing by Monrae is gonna come through and talk about how she is selling on social. This lady made $1 million like years before her 30th birthday. I think it was by 26. She is doing over 100K a month utilizing social selling strategies. Her content game is through the roof. I'm going to go see her this week. She's doing an event in Chicago with Lamar Tyler. And she has a conference in October that I'm speaking at called the Homecoming Conference. Like literally, she's beyond impressive. Has 2 books out. Made her first $1 million by the age of 26. Went from like 120K to $1 million in a year. Didn't even have her business long. How many of you would like your first 2 years in business, like your second year in business, you want it to be $1 million a year? Like we don't have to. It doesn't take all day. I'm bringing in people who have figured out how to acquire high-end clients quickly and then grow. Right. And it is a privilege that these women happen to also look like me. It is a privilege that they're all Black women. It's a privilege that they're young and they're going for their goals. It's a privilege that we also have generational diversity. We got people. So I don't care if you're just starting out, if you're a millennial, a boomer, whatever else there are. Like, I really don't care about your generation because we tried to represent most of the generations on the panel of folks that we're bringing in. But we're doing this. This is our final summit of the year, I believe. It may be one of the last ones, but it's one of our last summits of the year. Okay, we're going into Q4. So I want you guys to be there. I want you to share this message with everyone because let me tell y'all something. Facebook was not happy about me calling it the Black Woman Sales Summit at first. So they was not letting your girls' ads run through. So what I want my people to do, if you're listening to this, you love our content, even if you're someone who's like, I have not spent a dime with your company, but I've gotten value out of it. I want you to share this summit far and wide. Go to speakerreadycashsummit.com, share the link, share my posts about it, tag Black women under the ads, tag whomever could get value out of this. And for those of you, because I've gotten the emails, I know how y'all are. My audience is very diverse. So I've gotten some emails. It's like, well, I'm not a Black woman. Can I come? I'm a man. Can I come? Yes, of course. Of course you can. Like if you're down for the cause, like you're cool with uplifting and encouraging and all the things, like absolutely come, share, get some value, share it with someone, you know what I mean? Like come out, do all the things. So go to speakyourwaytocashsummit.com, register, share this video out with someone who can get value from it. And we're going to keep rocking it out, y'all. We're going to keep rocking it out. So today we covered like how to overcome bias in the marketplace, regardless of what that bias looks like. I'm going to recap the 6 things that you need to do. 1 is establish authority. 2 is get third-party validation, meaning press. 3, showcase your results. Show those client testimonials. Be relentless about it. Lead with value. Lead with value. That is how you win relationships with influential people. Lead with value. Be responsive. Be responsive. When someone reaches out to you and wants to do business with you, respond. And then ignore ignorance. Ignore ignorance. There will always be something on this journey that will be there to distract you from your ultimate goal. Ignore ignorance at all costs. People are being negative. People don't like me. Ignore it. Move on. Ignore it, because your goal is to wake up every day and make yourself more findable to the people that want what you have to offer. All right, y'all. The clock is on. We got 15 days until the Black Women Sales Summit. We don't have long. So we want to make sure that you are in the building. All right. So if you got any value from this, let me know. Drop me a comment. Share it with someone who can get some value from it. And I will see y'all at the Sell Your Way to Cash Summit. All right. Go to speakyourwaytocashsummit.com to register. That's speakyourwaytocashsummit.com. All right. Y'all have a